Welcome back to the show. Thanks for staying with us. So, a young man has taken to social media to seek advice after causing his parents' marriage to collapse. According to the report, he caught his dad cheating and reported to his mother, which led to their separation. Being the cause of the marriage dissolution, he chose to be with his mother until she passed on after getting involved in a car accident, which he blames himself for. So what are your thoughts on this? It's a heavy story. I don't want us to trivialize it. Call us or tweet to us. The numbers to call is 081-270-53687. Or you can call 091-390-76984. It's a very, very, like, when I read it, I just really felt for, the poor boy. So they didn't mention he didn't mention his age when he found out. 19. Okay, so a 19-year-old found his father cheating. Reported to his mom. The mom separated, divorced, got involved in another relationship that was abusive. And stayed in that relationship up until when she died in an accident. Now, this boy is carrying that trauma.
Traumatized.
That he's the reason for his mom's death and the marriage breakup. Where do we even start from? Nima, do you want to tackle?
I think he's a victim. I looked at it. He's a poor young boy destroyed by the father's excesses. I think at 19, you don't think of confronting your dad. You just get upset and do what he did. You talk to your mom. Except maybe some children that we used to call them special children. Those ones that have inside eye. They have elders' wisdom. But a 19-year-old, you flip now. You talk to whoever. And if you feel that your mom is being cheated, you scream, mommy, you know. And you don't run to grandma or somebody. You just, I will tell for you, you know. And that's what a 19-year-old does. There's only a few of them who are mature at age that will do differently. I think the father should be the one with the guilt. Now, the mom, you know, because our tradition in Africa, you leave a marriage. And it's valid to leave a marriage if you think cheating is not your deal. If cheating is your deal breaker, you can't take it. It's valid to leave a marriage for that. But she left. She then went to an abusive relationship and thought, I can't go back. People will start laughing. And so she stayed. You know, this is an adult decision that is tough. This is separate from this young boy again. So double trauma for him is to watch his mom being abused and not have anything to do about it, because he stayed with his mom and not be able to do anything about it. And, you know, just being helpless there. In all of this for me, and then losing the mom again at the end of the day and not having a parent at all. So this poor young boy should just, you know, calm down. Yeah. He's the victim in all of this, as far as I'm concerned.
You know, when you watch, like, Oyinbo movies, you hear them talk to their children, it's not your fault. This is not your fault. And I don't know if, as Africans or as Nigerians, we have that culture of sitting our children down when parents have issues between themselves, and knowing that ultimately it will affect the children. So for me, it seemed like this boy was not included in the conversation after it had been confirmed that the father was cheating on the mother. So probably there were lots of fights in the home, and he saw all that. And for himself, you think, I caused this, you know. And some people, unfortunately, I don't know if that is his case, would even have the parent that leaves and say, well, it was your fault. Or the father mentioned it was your fault. Or people would say to him, this, you know. So it would have been better if he had that situation where this is not your fault. This is something that I've decided to do because I cannot accept it. That's the mother saying to the father, to the son. Boy. And the father saying to the son that, do not think this has anything to do with you. What I did was wrong to your mom.
Imagine their parents that are whole, that made a decision, not emotional decision. Most people that get divorced here is an emotional decision.
So that's what I'm saying. So if you have that, sort of conversation, by the time you leave that situation, you won't go about with that mentality. And even if you do, it would not be as bad as in this case. So I think just going forward, you know, I would say to the young man, it is not your fault. I know that it may seem that way, but it is truly not your fault. Your father made a decision that affected the whole family, and that is why that marriage broke down. Now, concerning her moving on to another marriage and then finding herself in a toxic situation, it is not your fault again. Your mother made the decision to stay. And you may have seen that, and I want to even believe that she may have had conversations with him concerning where she was at that point. And the child just, I mean, the man needs to know that adults make decisions for themselves. And as children, sometimes you are helpless as to how to affect that relationship as it is. So the best thing is for the man to find ways to heal himself. Therapy will work. For people who are like church or mosque, they have people who talk to them and can help to build. Well, in churches, I know they do.
It's not religious places that you go.
Sorry,
no verse. Make I just drop this thing. It's not religious places you go. I don't know for churches, but for mosque, please don't go to your nearby afar. They destroy malls and they make one.
You need
Please go to professionals, people who can detach themselves from the things that they're telling you and objectively look at it, and then you don't destroy a person's rights over another. I know someone who's living that life now. It's not a good place to go.
Yeah, so I think the child, the young man, he's not a child, is bearing the burden that's not his own. And because we are in Africa, I've grown through that phase where parents constantly blame their children for the decisions that they make that doesn't work out for them, especially when it comes to marriage. I grew up in a home where I was constantly blamed for my mother leaving. I was very young when it happened. I was not even talking at the time. But for every day, I hear things like, it was your fault in words and actions. And that sort of affected me. So I really do not understand the sort of upbringing he had, even after the mother left. He could have gone with the mother, and the mother constantly blamed him for, for being the one to let the cat out of the bag. So you could have, why did you have to tell? Yes, why did you have to tell me? And he could have grown with that, into adulthood. And when I read the story, I saw the part that the siblings as well, I think the elder siblings sort of also blamed him for, reporting to the mother what the father had done. So you guys have actually said everything. But I would say that as parents, it's our responsibility to take responsibility for our actions and not put it on poor, innocent children. They have their own lives to make. And we should be very careful so that we do not mess up with their psyche. This person now is afraid to get married because of what he has been through. So if we're conscious of that, like Miriam said, we keep reassuring them that this is my decision, it's not your fault.
We have a call from Benue. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
We lost that.
When I read the story, what just occurred to me was, people need to realize that information is neutral. Even what you call negative is you that gave it in, is you that call it negative. Information is neutral. You caught your father cheating. Neutral. So somebody is negative. Another person, a man is entitled to cheat. So that information is neutral. It is your interpretation. When you gave the information when he gave information to his mother, the mother could say, all men cheat, just leave him
and ignore it.
So it is not his responsibility to. It is not his. He shouldn't take the responsibility for how somebody interpreted that information.
That's one. But we also know that.
Because many times we say things and somebody takes it another way, and you need to understand first that what I said, I did not mean it the way you took it. So first I must remove myself from taking responsibility for it, then ask you, why did you take it that way? Because now he is taking responsibility for the information that he gave his mother.
And how they reacted.
And how his mother reacted to it, and how that sort of like destroyed their family.
Yeah, so do you know that, I want to still take it back to the parents. Do you know that some young adults or children could have seen something like this and decided to keep it? And it became a huge burden on them.
Yeah.
It affected their lives in negative ways. And you're wondering what's happening to this child, what's happening to this young adult, because they didn't say it. So they bear the burden. Now, the parents, the parents need to see, every action you take has a consequence.
100%.
Take your actions, but don't run away from the consequences. And don't put it on anybody else around you.
Take responsibility. Let's take Naomi from Kaduna. Naomi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, ladies. Good morning. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, you guys are doing a very great job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry about this case. The mother is gone already. There's nothing that can be done now. But my main concern is in respect of women who go about chasing other women's husbands. I don't like it at all, because such a situation will always bring a friction in the family. It's not every woman that has the stamina to go through her loved one being carried away by another woman. Nobody likes competition. So me, my advice is to young girls is you should stay off married women, especially those of us that are not supposed to marry second wife. Look at this boy now. He will just grow up with the stigma that he's the one that caused his mother's death. I'm not happy about that one, but a counselor can help him.
Yes.
Thank you very much. God
Thank you, ma'am.
So Naomi went somewhere else with staying off married men. Like, but it's sort of.
But it could be the married man chasing the young
Exactly.
girl.
Well, yeah, that every situation is neutral.
Sure, yes.
What happened is the way someone reacts to it that's important. But I like what she
wanted
said.
to build on.
May I respond to what Tokwe said about maybe another mother would have heard it and say, oh, you know, it was nothing, or that's how men are, you know, and explained it that way. And I think also you alluded to the fact that maybe if she had stayed or something, it would have affected it that way. But for me is that many women now, we hear the conversations where they say the way you decide to live in your marriage tells a story to your child. So for me, it spoke, the first lesson that boy learned may have been that cheating is bad and it's not acceptable in a marriage, and there's nothing wrong with that message. And he may have learned that as well, that when I go into my marriage, cheating is wrong. So I don't think it would be right for her to tell him, oh, that doesn't matter, that's how men behave.
Well,
Secondly, when she stayed in a toxic marriage, she sent him another message, which is, cheating is not acceptable, but violence is.
Oh, God.
You get
We'll take a quick break when we return. We'll dig further to provide solutions on how to deal with these situations where we confront them. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So before we went to the break, we were discussing this very important topic about the impact of our actions and inactions on our children, and how we should take the time. Because I like what Mariam said. From what I said, it will come across as maybe if you're cheating, stay in the place because it might affect your child. But I think the first point Mariam made addressed that situation, which is always take out time to let the child understand I am the adult here. Yeah. So if you're making any decision that might affect your child's life, take the time to make your child understand that I am the adult, I'm the one responsible for you.
This.
What you said did not influence this. Some children take this trauma all through their life. They feel maybe because they failed in their exams is why, or maybe because I was causing so much trouble. My parents now decided to break up. I'm a troublesome child. I wasn't a good child. Be deliberate to make the child understand you are not responsible for this. Yes. I am making a decision as an adult here, what I think is best for me, and I feel I'll help you on that journey as well.
I wanted to build on what BC was saying earlier about, how the impressions that you give your child as a parent, The father in this case had lived a life that, affected that child, not the other way around. You as a parent are your child's first role model.
Yeah.
If you cheat in front of your child and he witnesses cheating, what he reacts to is a bad parent. So most of us idolize our parents. I can't even imagine my parents doing certain things. And so I'm extremely careful the kind of things I do around my child. I know I have my excesses or shortcomings. I try to keep away. And as much as possible, be their friend, so that once in a while, I say to them, I'm a normal person, this and this. Yesterday, the church behind my house was singing a chorus in Igbo that I sang all through primary school. So I joined, and at some point, in Urobo, at some point I started doing the abo, just playing in the kitchen. And my daughter was like, you can sing it and you can even dance it. I said, I'm Bendel. And then I grew up here, and I went to Christian school. And to her, it sounded strange because I put my child in an Islamic school all through her life. And she couldn't balance it out, I had to say that to her because she would think it's not normal. And so imagine if it was an extreme opposite negative behavior that I exhibited in front of her.
Yeah.
And you must, as a parent, be the one to take that responsibility. Don't give your child. Some kids will see their father do what he did, hate him.
Internalize it.
Internalize it and just be looking. So I have friends who monetized it, who caught their fathers cheating.
Collected money.
Yes, they made money from it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh,
But
that's a huge
I
problem.
don't know which angle you're going to be see, but you know, you mentioned it a bit. She mentioned it again. The fact that parents are like the idols that children look up to, and when they do things that are wrong, and we don't report them, we disrespect those parents. Many of those children disrespect those parents because they feel like if you know you don't cheat, you're cheating. Any other thing you say, I'm not going to believe it, and you cannot beat me because I know what you did. You know, so like it's like a character, and it might have influenced them. But what did you see it that way? Did you see the impact of a cheating? Let me not use cheating alone because there are many other things.
So I wanted to go into other aspects. So take for instance, you are the sort of parents that lies. And you lie blatantly everywhere. That people come to look for you and you tell your child, you're inside, tell them I'm not around. And that child goes there and tells the person that you are not around while the child knows you are around. So there are certain things that, okay, most of the parents of the past, I want to say were ignorant of how their behavior affected their children in different ways. So it was more like do what I say and not what I do. Yeah. But we have learned over time that children actually do what you do. If they're afraid of you, they may not do it in your presence. But they do it. Trust me, they are piling it up. And when that child becomes, you know, free enough to face you and do it, you'll be wondering, hey, I tried my best. I trained this child. I suffered. I labored. Where is this child picking all of these attitudes and these habits to? So my advice because we're trying to change the narrative and help young parents like us raise better children so we can have a better society. Be very careful what you do as a parent, as an individual, because they are watching you. They may look like they are not seeing you, but they are paying attention. And somebody told me something. They said, we become our parents at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
Over the years. I'm looking at myself and I'm seeing similarities to some of my parents. I'm seeing some traits that I didn't like in them that I was... and I'm seeing, and I'm asking myself, no, I never believed I'll be this or I would do this. But over time, it just has a way of coming back at you. So we need to be very careful as parents. We need to be very careful. We need to be deliberate. Once you give birth to a child, you are responsible for that child. And that means that every of your actions, every of your attitudes needs to change in a way to build a better human being, or else you will just lose it.
I wanted to come to Mariam because I know she's doing a course on parenting. Broken parents will raise broken children. Broken parents will raise broken children. So as a parent, we need to understand that our psychology and how we feel is important so that we can give out of the abundance of ourself. Because if we don't deal with the issues we have, we would invariably transfer those issues to our children. But my question is, if a parent does not know they even have a problem, where do they start from? Like, they don't even know. What would you say are the highlights that you've learned that shocked you? Like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this anymore.
Yeah. Let me tell you one thing that came to mind, that if I had known a lot of the things that I know now from this conference and just talking generally, I may not be a parent. Because the moment you realize that this is work, it's not just about popping mini-me's and dressing them cute and having them speak well and being educated. It's somebody's life that has been put in your trust and in your care. You have the responsibility of raising that adult to be well-rounded and well-adjusted to the life that they're about to. And some mistakes and everything will affect them for the rest of their lives. If you have most of the information that we have now, you'll be very careful about taking that step. And so I know for many of us, we even started from a point of less information. But thankfully, many of us realized that we were putting our legs in and we're doing well. There's something else I learned which is important, this parenting, which is, yes, you've made so many mistakes. But the moment you learn the right way to do it, you repair. And that sometimes that raising a child is not always about having a perfect way of raising a child. Is that, you know, there are bumps up and down, but when you repair, you help build resilience in a child. So the child also understands how to respond in a situation that is not so ideal. But the important thing is that when you make a mistake, you repair. When you make a mistake, you repair. So for this young man especially, for me, I think it's just so much trauma. But then when he builds on himself, I believe he will make a fantastic father and a fantastic husband.
There's tweet I want to take, and I'd like to respond to it. Faji says, ladies, stop making excuses for this young man. It's sad the mom died, but the man shouldn't have told his mom. A 15-year-old found his dad cheating and never told his mom. 40 years after, the parents are still together.
Wow.
What
and
he
how
does,
did that 15-year-old behave?
He's not looking at that. He's looking at the marriage being together. He's not looking at the quality of marriage. And I said, like I said, that everybody reacts differently.
Yes.
I know my friends who monetized it. I know my friends who covered up, who picks the call and say, okay, it's my friend calling, not my dad's. You know, I gave them my dad's number by mistake for their
I will
parents.
monetize
So, you know,
it,
when we were growing up, it was enough. I used to say to my dad, if you like to take a second life, I'll be in support of you, 110%. I didn't want that to be an issue within their home. So I know people who, but not all of us.
If you catch someone, you tell them, I'll tell mommy.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying.
But also, I think there's something that we're assuming as well, that the mother did not know anything about it until that child said it.
That's another thing.
Because she may have been upset more that you did not keep it discreet enough that our child did not know. So you become so cavalier about it that my child even understands what you're up to. So she may have known that this is what's been happening.
I think that we should focus on the quality of life we're living. This Twitter user, and I'm sure there'll be other Twitter users.
Yes, no, but people have this mindset.
Yes,
I just wanted to
you don't say everything you see.
That he did not say it does not mean he wasn't affected badly by what he saw. So he might end up a cheat himself, or, you know, just hate his dad, or totally not respect him.
And disrespect.
A lot of things will go wrong in that marriage. So you as a parent, it's still you. When you're living a certain life, there are times when you have to weigh the life you're living and the possible consequences of it and see whether this is the time to let go of this bad habit, or, you know, or live with whatever it brings to me.
So the fear of drinking, the fear of children having drug abuse, drinking recklessly, smoking. I just keep in my, we have a bar. And and you know, occasional take a drink. I'm now like telling myself that, you know, your children are growing up seeing you taking wine, and they say, no, wine is for adults. Mommy drinks wine in the evenings, is for adults. And they will grow up thinking every day you should. No, I don't drink every day.
They see you weekend.
Yes, they'll say it's okay. And in my head, I'm thinking, I know how to control myself. I know people around me that they cannot, whenever they start drinking, they cannot stop themselves. If I take a glass, I'm done. I'm okay. I can even not finish the wine. But some can't. So my ability to control myself, I might not be able to impact that exactly on my children, but they will see that I'm drinking. They will not understand. Mommy only takes a sip and stop. So we must realize that sometimes we would make sacrifices as parents of things that we love, but we know that your children are looking at you and they might not be able to control. They might just go behind the back and drink, and then something will happen. Please.
Okay, so let me build a bit
like
on that.
1 second.
Yes. Okay. So I know that when things happen, like she rightly said, children react differently. I grew up in a house that there was booze every day and there was smoke, you know. But I reacted differently in the sense that I was able to tell myself that I didn't want this. And as I was dating, if I perceive the smell of cigarettes, we can't date. There's nothing, and I've never tried cigarette, not once. That is me.
You grew up in that.
Yes, yet I grew up in that environment. So I think the bottom line is being responsible in enough to, like, I like your explanation. This is for, there's a time for this. If you choose to, is an option. Not every child would want it. Not every child would not want it, whether you do it or not. It has nothing to do with you.
True.
But you can find a way to, if you're that type that you can't hide, because the thing is, if it's okay, let me do it outside and hide it, they will still find out.
They will know.
That is even worse. But if it's something that you indulge in once in a while, you can make it plain to them that this is me as an adult. This is what I have chosen to do. If you become an adult and you say you want to go this way,
this is how
this is your choice. This is your consequences.
We're going to be moving on to another topic. We'll take a quick break. When we return, another very interesting topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.